The first stage of the plan to strip the state of 11 billion cubic meters of gas and give them to Rosukrenergo has been completed. The Stockholm arbitration ruled in favor of Rosukrenergo, Dmytro, Firtash's intermediary company. If not for a leak to the press, no one would ever have known that Naftogaz, led by Firtash's people, Bakulin and Minister Boyko, has surrendered and accepted Rosukrenergo's demands.
I think that there is an apparent conflict of interest. The people who work in Naftogaz have a clear background that points to close ties with one of the owners, the co-owners of Rosukrenergo.
Now it's time to explain to Ukrainians why each of them has to pay at least 1,000 hryvnias to oligarch Firtash. His support group in power has decided to make scapegoats out of former government officials. The main mission of the criminal part of the plan is assigned to the head of the SBU and Firtash's media business partner Khoroshkovsky. One by one he launches criminal cases against former officials. Already behind bars is ex-chief of customs Anatoly Makarenko, former deputy chairman of Naftogaz Igor Didenko, and since this week also Taras Shepitko, ex-worker of energy customs.
Taras Shepitko, deputy head of the regional energy customs office, has been taken into custody. The criminal case involves theft and misuse.
Makarenko, Didenko and Shepitko are under arrest for the time of the investigation. Maria Kushnir, formerly deputy chief accountant of Naftogaz, has been declared wanted. The logic of Khoroshkovsky's SBU is, if convicted, they will naturally be blamed for the need to implement the Stockholm arbitration's ruling. And the government will have at least the moral right to pay Firtash. Their purpose is not just revenge. Through such criminal cases, they want to legalize their right to take from Ukraine 11 billion cubic meters of gas, or $5.4 billion. It's enough to read just one of the Stockholm arbitration's decisions to see the real intentions of the energy sector's chiefs.
From the Stockholm arbitrary decision, Naftogaz no longer argues that the acquisition of 11 billion cubic meters on February 3, 2009 has sufficient legal grounds.
So no one would probe case number 558 on Rosukrenergo's gas. SBU's leadership didn't find anything better than to classify it. Even the interim parliamentary investigative commission has no access to any documents.
They understand that any declassification of this case can put them under very heavy criticism. They are obviously hiding something.
One after another, the interim commission receives responses from the Energy Ministry, from Naftogaz, from the General Attorney's Office. They all write the same thing: the case is classified, we won't tell you anything.
In Stockholm, there was a conspiracy where the defendant, Naftogaz, instead of protecting the interests of Ukraine, did everything possible to provide victory for Rosukrenergo.
On what basis a case that has such importance to society classified? According to our sources, the decision was taken on a high level. Although all the case materials were public, the SBU retroactively added a piece of paper that was secret. This was an internal document of Naftogaz, a layout of gas storages and pipelines. This was supposedly the reason for classifying the case.
You are demigods in black, really? Demigods in black. You decide people's fates. Think about this.
This was the only hearing open to journalists when the Kyiv Court of Appeals considered a request by Igor Didenko's lawyers to release him from prison on bail.
You're scared to take a spoon there, scared to take a cup. People suffer there. They leave the place handicapped. Not to mention the fact that statistics show corpses and more corpses.
A key figure in case number 558, Igor Didenko even said that he might be killed in prison.
I suspect that bold political groups, incited by their economic financiers, will jump at this chance to simply kill me.
Parliamentarians offered bail, but the court declined. A request for bail by people's deputies for Didenko is denied.
Swine.
Officially, all 4 accused under case number 558 are charged with taking Rosukrenergo gas in favor of the state. The SBU is investigating the matter from this angle, rather than looking into the circumstances of Naftogaz's surrender in Stockholm. It's funny how Fuel Minister Boyko pretends that he's worried about state interests and not the private interests of his partner Firtash.
We're not in a haste to give away anything. I've made clear the government's clear position that we have warned our Russian partners, who are co-founders of Rosukrenergo, that we will not ruin the country's gas balance.
If the management of Naftogaz and the Energy Ministry is not going to give Firtash the gas, then why were they so eager to suffer defeat in the Swedish arbitration? Although perhaps Mr. Boyko isn't lying, he's just being clever. Because to pay Rosukrenergo with gas is to leave Ukrainians cold in the winter. The required sum, over $5 billion, is not to be found in the budget. There is another option, Russia. Indeed, logically, Gazprom must refund Ukraine the $1.7 billion that were paid for the purchase of the claim to gas, since the gas could not be obtained. But why would Russia return such a huge amount to Ukraine? That's when the bidding starts. Indeed, Moscow's political interests include at least 2 strategic assets, the Crimea and the Ukrainian gas transit system. Russia's return of the money will provide the Ukrainian authorities with an explanation for sacrificing the Crimea or the gas pipes. And Dmytro Firtash, having satisfied his wishes, will unbutton his white pockets to thank his political lobbyists in government.